Hello. I was Sunday morning and building my new workshop. I thought I'd come and talk to you about some plans. Nobody's around and enjoying myself. Gee, I've had a lot on my mind lately. .600 width bench shelf running all the way along here, and here a space for a tool trolley, and here a space for a workshop bench trolley. The idea is that you have a bench on casters that you can move around and move into the middle of the workshop, and then work on something all around it. And I know for the aircraft there's going to be quite a bit of work on the fiberglass, and it's going to really help if I can mount it on a workbench and then move around it. And for the first time ever, a proper tool trolley that I can, because the aircraft is 6 meters long, that's the fuselage length. The wingspan is 15 meters. It actually has two wingspans. I can actually choose what wingtips I put on it just before I fly. So I can create a motor glider by putting in the full length wingtips, and gives me 15 meters wingspan. My old motor glider was 18.4 meter wingspan. There are gliders that go up to about 22 meter wingspans. Those are extreme machines. But I can also reduce it down to, I think it's about 11.8 meters wingspan. Now with a shorter wing, you get an aircraft that is going to be it's going to have a slightly shorter takeoff distance because you have less drag. You have an aircraft that will cruise faster, same reason, but it is not going to be good as good as at gliding. I'm also going to be building a new vehicle. The challenge is it's again weight. It's this whole thing. The Dream Tourer. When I'm full, I've managed to trim a bit of weight off it, but when I'm full, I'm at GVM, which means I cannot use it for towing. I can't use it for towing. Even if I emptied it, I couldn't use it for towing. I have to tow it with something else. It was never designed to tow. You see, it actually helps me to think, to talk to my audience, because I know a lot of you guys are thinking with me as I'm rationalizing these things. You're thinking with me and thinking, okay, yeah, but what? Yeah, but what? And every now and again, you guys comment, and I have to say, oh, that's interesting. I hadn't thought of it that way. So it helps me think. Okay, I have to. Here's the problem. I have to. I can't tow my accommodation because I'm going to be towing the aircraft. So I have to have the accommodation on the vehicle. It has to be part of the vehicle, my accommodation. And so what's the solution? I could get a station wagon and put a rooftop tent on the top, and or I could even get a ute and put a very lightweight canopy on the back. And a rooftop tent, but I'm almost at GVM. Once I've done that, I'm close to GVM. And then I got a trailer on the back, so I'm just fighting this weight thing. And then I have to do a GVM upgrade, and I don't want to do a GVM upgrade again. I've learnt about GVM upgrades. You know, the Dream Tourer was a massive learning curve for me. GVM upgrades means that you cannot then touch the suspension. That's it. So, but I wanted to. No. Okay, live with it. You want a GVM upgrade? Live with it. Period. Full stop. Otherwise, you're contravening regulations when it comes to GVM. They test the GVM on that particular suspension system. They give you approval, you may not touch it, may not change it. It sounds a bit weird, but with a standard vehicle which is also tested, you can. Didn't quite get the logic of that, but you can legally. You can change the suspension. So if I don't, so I need to buy a vehicle where I can build the accommodation in the vehicle and I tow the aircraft and not be over GVM and not need a GVM upgrade. What? It's either a troop carrier or I buy a Land Cruiser 200 and then I have to be so careful with what I do with the accommodation. No, it's a troop carrier. I couldn't equip my accommodation. It would have to be so rudimentary. I don't want it to be rudimentary. I want to be comfortable. I also feel, and this won't surprise, I don't think this is going to surprise a lot of you on the channel when I say the Dream Tourer, I get more heads turning than probably any vehicle I've ever built. I've gone too far. I just feel now that I need to get back to basics. I'm going to do a series called Back to Basics. But I feel crazy. It feels madness to me. I've had the vehicle for a little more than a year, and I haven't done that much traveling with it because of the restrictions of COVID-19, and I'm doing another trip now. The other side of it is the investment that has gone into the Stretch 79, the Dream Tourer. Massive investment in terms of time. I was donated a lot of kit. I bought a lot myself as well. So there's a cost issue whether selling the Stretch 79 and building a troop carrier cost. There's not a lot in it. There's not a lot in it. But if I build another troop carrier, see the other troop carrier I had, remember, I was at GVM. I was GVM without the upgrade. I can't do that. I've got to do that, but I've got to save a lot of weight, which forces me to go back to basics. It's also a matter of confidence. The confidence one has in a vehicle. I have not tested the Dream Tourer to any degree off-road. A little bit in sand. It did dig in the back a bit. I haven't been onto the beach. I haven't tried it over difficult. The terrain I've tried it over has all been reasonably easy, and it's walked it. But it's a Land Cruiser, and there's a sense of I know the troop carrier. The troop carrier as I had configured it, with those narrowish tires, and yes, a little bit heavy when fully laden, but it's a phenomenally good off-road machine. No, it's not as good as the best of the best, but then again, they're close to the troop carrier when it comes to versatility in camping and overlanding. Troop carrier knocks them out of the park. So I've got to go back to basics. I've got to, for example, this sound insulation material that I use for my sound insulation, that box is probably 10 kilos. My previous troop carrier I used probably three boxes. New one, back to basics, one box. Everything that goes in has to be weighed and calculated. Now I know this might sound a little bit anal, but I can't get to finishing the troop carrier and then I don't have the sufficient legal trailer weight that I need to pull the trailer. Now the aircraft trailer will be a double axle trailer, so the ball weight won't be particularly high, but I have to stay within all the legal parameters. So I have to keep it light. And I also have to consider the fact that the troop carrier will also be used for long distance travel without the tow vehicle. So I've got some ideas without the trailer. So I've got some ideas on going back to basics, but I also want to go back to basics in terms of the electrics of the vehicle. And as a town vehicle, because of the long wheelbase, the reduced turning radius, out in the bush makes no difference at all. I guess on a twisty, turny mountain track, yeah, it's going to make a difference. But as a tourer, general tourer, no difference at all. Completely acceptable. And I have to give the extension, the chassis extension, its due. It improved ride. I've driven 79 double cabs in Africa a lot. This ride's far better. Everything about it is better, particularly on corrugations. I've got that longer. The longer wheelbase is going to give comfort in that particular environment, and the vehicle actually rides extremely well. Given the load I've got on the back, I know how 79 Land Cruisers handle with this kind of weight in the back. There is no ways I would put this weight on the back without a chassis extension. It would be dreadful. It would be awful. It would be hanging its tail out all over the place. Now this doesn't do that, but on extreme terrain it will. It just will. I know it will. It's logic. So this is this confidence thing, you see. It's this confidence thing as why I've got this niggle in the back of my mind. The great thing about the Troopy when I owned it was there was a sense of confidence, and if I wanted to go on a trip I'd just jump in it and go. It remained fully equipped. Now the idea of having a ute, it's been very, very useful when buying a new house and getting stuff done, and the ute's been really useful. A ute is not something that I need. It's nice to have the versatility of take off the camper, and as easy as it looks, taking that camper off and putting it back on, it's not a quick, oh, let's quickly do it. You know, the whole process to put it on, give or take an hour. Okay, so what would I do with the troop carrier to make it back to basics? I will make it out of wood. I'm actually not kidding. The interior that I was involved with the designing at Quick Pitch, that interior worked extremely well. But there was a weight cost. So if I want to do that and have that ease of access, because it's all about access, I will build the interior out of plywood. And I chatted to the guys at ProCamp Solutions. They do custom interior builds, and they use an unbelievably light plywood. It's balsa light, incredibly light. And we decided that in fact we would save a considerable amount of weight. How much, it was difficult to say, but we're probably talking in the region of, and we thumbed a guess, 30 kilos of saving of weight with a similar access. Probably not quite as good access, but similar. Quick Pitch and I worked together to design the draw system, and what you're seeing here is actually the very first one that was completed and built into any particular troop carrier. Well, we had to start somewhere, and mine was the guinea pig vehicle, and very happy I am with it too. The thing is that with drawers and access, most of the weight comes in the sliders. They're very heavy, they're solid, very, very heavy. And you can't under-engineer the sliders, because if you do, then the sliders will break and you'll find you're on a trip, and the weight in the drawer system, if it's a sliding drawer, will actually damage the slider, and you'll arrive at your destination and the slider won't open, it'll be jammed. So you can't under-engineer that. But also if you over-engineer it, it's a weight issue. So while the frame and everything will be and this is the reason why the Quick Pitch one is quite heavy, is because it has 4 drawers. And that's because of the, it's not because of the structure so much as the number of drawers. There is a weight penalty, but the joy of access is fantastic. So I'm saying, okay, I might have to limit my access a little bit, but again, the goal is I need good access, low weight, not just good access. Don't worry too much about the weight. So I have to change the mindset. And how am I going to access all my camera equipment? Because there's nothing, what I've got in the 79 is, the best part of that 79 build is my access to my camera equipment. There's no question about it. It's the best thing. I can just, it's fantastic, brilliant. I've never had it close. And of all of the things of the Dream Tour, for me, that is just the bee's knees, the dog's bollocks, is my access to my camera equipment. I never dreamed it would be that good. It could be that good. Can I get it that good with a troop carrier? No, I can't. How much of that is a priority? Yeah, it's a pretty high priority. So I could, and this is a viable option, take the camper off, keep my long wheelbase, put on a very lightweight canopy with a traditional rooftop tent, no live-in, no step-in, just a traditional camping thing, and tow with that. That I could do. So it's either that, lose the camper, not have any camper at all, keep the stretched cruiser, and tow with that. It will make a very good tow vehicle because it's long wheelbase, it's stability, it runs beautifully on the open road. So that is another option. Either way, I have to lose the camper because of weight. Do I do a basic camping setup in the stretched vehicle that I've already got, and I have access to the camera gear, or I go get rid of it, buy a troop carrier, rebuild a troop carrier, lightweight, and forego the best parts of the dual cab, which is I'd have a dual cab to use every day. That'd be nice. Okay. Although it's a bit of a pain in town. But I'd put a canopy on the back, so it wouldn't be a pure ute, it would be a camper. So it won't be altogether as versatile as an open ute. So at the end of the day, that's the swap. So here are my choices. Keep the stretched. Great tow vehicle. Put on a light canopy, rooftop tent, and tow with that. Keep the wonderful camera access. Number 2, Land Cruiser 200. More comfortable, much nicer tow vehicle, actually a better package, similar accommodation, rooftop tent, not a canopy, but I can equip out the back of a station wagon, almost as well as a ute canopy, and then I'd have a much nicer tow vehicle, better for long distance. And I've always kind of liked the Land Cruiser 200, I like the idea of, I had a 100 and I loved it. Or buy a troop carrier, lose a little bit on the camera access, although if I made it a priority during its design, I could make it a lot better than it was in my first troop carrier. And then build a rudimentary, yes, the camping conversion, I'd still do that, but the interior would be very basic, I'd have to keep it light, but then I would then have a fully functioning camping overlander, great for towing, and kind of the best of both worlds. And all I'm really losing is a little bit of comfort that I might have if I'd built a Land Cruiser 200. Over the stretched, I'm losing access to camera, but I'd still be able to make it better. So, and the troop carrier, I would be, can you see where I'm going with this? I will in another video go through what the aircraft is all about, because the reason for moving on vehicle-wise is the aircraft. Otherwise I probably wouldn't. But I'm going to conclude with this. I'm 61. I have wanted to build an aircraft myself since 1998, when I actually started building one. And building a business, a young family, there was just no time. So I gave up and sold that build project. That was an aircraft called an RV6. How long is it until I will be too old and perhaps not have a medical qualification to fly? How long have I got? I don't know. And that's the problem. What I do know is that within 15 years of this date, the chances are that I will not be able to fly. I want to get back into the air again with my own aircraft. I want to build my own aircraft, and it's been a almost lifelong ambition. If I don't do it now, I'll never do it. And I'm not the kind of guy just to let an opportunity fly by without grabbing it. I'm just not that guy. So I will be sharing everything with the build of the new vehicle, whatever I finally decide that's going to be, and the entire process of ordering, building, test flying the aircraft with you guys. And then once that's all done, doing some incredible trips exploring Australia, not only from the ground like I've been doing, but from the air as well. Thank you for watching. If you haven't already, subscribe and click the notifications bell so you don't miss our weekly videos.